Hey, welcome back. This is the 52 podcast with Nympholette and Gregarious. This is episode 7. We reviewed Night in Paradise, which is a Korean film that I'm not sure if Netflix produced or whatever, but it is a Netflix original. Um, so yeah, that's. Thanks for coming back and wanting to hear what we have to say.
I actually like the fact that they did like a little custom Netflix production logo for this one. Did you notice that?
No.
It was like Netflix Presents, but it was very stylized.
Oh, I didn't realize. I thought Netflix always has like a thing, but maybe it was different this time around. Um, okay, so Greg's gonna read the synopsis as usual, so that way, if you
Oh
haven't
my
seen the
god.
film before, you'll know what we're talking about.
Although you might still not know what we're talking about because this happens to be the shortest Wikipedia synopsis so far.
Shortest, and Greg and I. Okay, apologies to all out there, but I don't know anyone's name. I don't speak Korean, and I just don't.
Yeah, apologies to our Korean and really all of our Asian
Any Asian, I'm so
listeners
sorry.
because these names they say them so fast.
And I
And
can't really. Honestly, me trying to pronounce it would almost be more offensive than me
yeah,
just avoiding
but
it.
also I kind of do have to pronounce it right now.
He does, I'm not.
So, an assassin named Taegu is offered a chance to switch sides with his rival Buksong gang, headed by Chairman Do. Taegu rejects the offer that results in the murder of his sister and niece. In revenge, Taegu brutally kills Chairman Do and his men and flees to Jeju Island, where he meets Jaeyeon, a terminally ill woman. Though the henchman of the Buksang gang, Executive Ma, is mercilessly hunting Taegu to take revenge. That was the shittiest synopsis I've ever read.
Honestly, I thought it was
So,
succinct.
no. He didn't kill Chairman Do. That guy lived.
Okay, but that's a spoiler.
No, it's not. This is a plot synopsis.
Okay, why are you yelling?
It's supposed to mention the plot.
Okay, he barely lived. Honestly, I don't know if it even mattered that he lived because to me it didn't really make
Alright,
sense, but we'll
here's
get to
my
that.
plot synopsis.
Fine. Greg has his own.
Taegu is like a semi high level enforcer for this gang. I don't even think they ever mentioned the name of his own gang. He just works for some guy named Yang, which just happens to rhyme. This Yang guy is like not super prosperous at this point because Booksong is like the largest gang in Seoul and they've been poaching Yang's men. Holy shit.
A stuffed animal
Sorry,
fell on
yeah, a stuffed
Greg.
animal just attacked me and scared the shit out of me. Um, so they've been poaching Yang's men, and Taegu's like the last one, and this kid's like a savage, like he's a savage gentleman, one might say.
Bad bitch.
He really is. And so the book, one of the
His name's Tegu?
Taegu, that's how I'm gonna say it for
Well, I
now.
have to know how to say it too, so Tegu is what I'll say.
Um, so Yang's men get attacked. Taegu goes as the sort of go between Yang and a representative of the Booksong gang, and they present him the offer again, and he's like, "No, fuck you. Like, I'm not doing that. I'll take whatever message you want me to take to my boss. That's fine. Whatever." He leaves after saying some disrespectful shit, and he goes to pick up his sister and his niece at the airport. He picks them up. We find out that his sister is terminally ill. It's gonna be his niece's birthday in a couple of days, so he gives her an iPad. They get in the car, they drive off. He has like his own crew driving them away. He's left with one bodyguard with him, and he dismisses that guy. He goes to pick up his sister's medicine, quote, because that's not all he was doing. He finds out from the doctor that he's not a donor. I'm assuming his sister has some kind of blood cancer, and he was gonna try and donate bone marrow.
He's only a half brother.
He's only the half brother because they had a different father, which the doctor would have known that before even running the test and probably wouldn't have even ran it because they really don't have that many genetic familiarities in terms of that. Um, fuck, I'm stuck. He is like in the in the waiting room in the hospital after dealing with that, and he's just kind of sitting there thinking. And his sister calls him and is talking to him about this fish stew that he loves but she hates. And then the phone call cuts out.
Mahu or Malu?
Who?
It's called like Malahu.
I don't even remember.
I really want to try it.
It sounds good. It sounds
Although
like a
I've given up
spicy.
seafood after Seaspiracy.
Yeah. But it sounds like a spicy, like, sushi soup, which sounds delicious.
If it didn't have all that bad stuff that fish has.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning into Seaspiracy.
So, it turns out that his sister and the niece were in, like, some crazy accident. They're both dead. There's fucking blood everywhere in this car accident. He goes back to Yang. Actually, no. It fast forwards to their funeral. And Yang shows up. Everybody bows to him like he's this big bitch. Whatever.
That was actually pretty baller.
Oh, when he walked in and everybody fucking
I was
stood
like,
up
can
and
I
bowed?
have a life
Yeah.
like that?
I'm actually fascinated by the hierarchy of these gangs.
And just the
Like, one of
culture.
them's director, this dude's a captain. What the fuck is going on?
I love the way they're dressed.
Fire.
To the nine.
Absolutely fire. So this guy walks into the funeral and he's like, you know, I'm sorry the book song gang did this to your family. Nobody should stoop to those levels. And you're like, damn, bro, I think you might be jumping the gun, but I guess if they're your rivals, yeah, this probably is who killed, you know, that guy's sister
It did
and
seem
his
presumptuous.
niece. It seemed hella presumptuous and immediate.
Well, actually, I have... Okay, once you're done with the synopsis,
know.
I have things to say.
And so he's like, yeah, fucking Chairman Doe definitely just put that hit out on your sister. That shit is crazy. And he's like, yeah, I guess that shit is really crazy. I'm pretty upset that my fucking family got murdered. I'll do basically whatever you tell me to do in terms of getting my revenge. And so they set up a meet with Chairman Doe because that's the guy who's been trying to recruit Taegu anyway. So Chairman Doe is going to be gullible enough to think, oh, Taegu's coming to talk to me because maybe he's reconsidered my suggestion of him moving gangs. And they meet up in a sauna, which, like, interesting power move because the fact that they're in the sauna means that neither one of them can have weapons.
I think it's also a very Korean thing.
It's a very Korean but also neutral ground thing. Like, it's a mobster kind of thing. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like any mobster might meet in the sauna.
I'm here for it.
And so they're talking. He doesn't... Chairman Doe was like, I can't believe somebody would do that to your family. Like, what kind of dishonor is that? Nobody should... If we felt like... Nah, that happens later. Either way, he's like, nobody would stoop to that level. Like, we keep it within the gang. We're never gonna attack anybody's family because that's not what we do. But what are you here to talk to me for? Like, what proposition have you come to me with? There's a bodyguard in the room. Taegu's like, let me throw some cool water on myself before I get into it. The bodyguard's like acting up and trying to not let him leave the room. Chairman Doe says, let him go. Like, what are you acting so fucking stuck up for? Taegu goes, grabs like a bin in the pool. He's naked. Splashes water on himself. You know, brushes through his hair. And I knew that there was a knife in that fucking thing.
I don't know how he finagled that.
I knew that it was there. I knew it because that seemed like the exact... It reminded me of Oz.
Yeah.
The hidden weapon that somebody
There's
else
a lot
had
of
planted
Oz
previously.
vibes.
It definitely reminded me of Oz. So there's like a fucking shiv.
Oh, by the way, everyone, just so you know what Oz is, it's a wonderful HBO program that was their original 1-hour drama that Greg and I both watched.
Watch it.
Yeah, it's really
Also
good.
featuring Stabler's penis.
Yes.
Shout out Christopher Maloney. So he grabs the shiv, tucks it into his hand, starts walking over. There's 2 bodyguards outside of the room, 1 bodyguard in the room, and Chairman Doe. He stabs the fuck out of the first guy. Just straight swinging stab to the throat. Dude basically dies immediately. The other guy starts grabbing him, but Taegu's a bad motherfucker. But, like, not in that, like, John Wick style where, like, these people don't know what they're doing and John Wick is just fucking, like, plowing through them. Like, he has to actually deal with the fact that these guys can fight, too. So he kind of blocks an armbar and stabs this guy in the fucking throat, too, like, 5 times. walks through the bloody door, stabs the other guy behind the door who was trying to keep the door closed. Chairman Doe's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, can you not? And he just stabs him in the throat, walks out, climbs out through a bathroom window, walks naked like 5 blocks to his car and just dips. And so he meets up with Yang.
He gets dressed in his car.
Yeah.
In like a suit.
I don't know how you get dressed in such enclosed quarters.
All I'm saying
In a suit?
It was badass.
So, meets up with Chairman Yang. Yang, and in an airport, Yang gives him a bag full of cash, new ID, ticket to Jeju Island, which is some coastal island off of like mainland Korea, I can only assume. And is like, go hide out there with this dude. I forgot the dude's name. I'm just gonna call him Kato.
His uncle.
Because I'm pretty sure it was just Kato. It's not his uncle.
No, but she calls him uncle. It's the woman's uncle.
So we'll just call him uncle, I guess.
That's what I thought of him as, uncle.
He's going to uncle's house. And uncle has like this reputation for being like some crazy gangster, which we'll get into. And he's like, go to uncle's house, stay there for a week. We've already arranged it. And then a boat is going to pick you up and take you to Vladivostok, Russia.
I didn't understand the connection with Russia. I didn't know that Russia had so many dealings with Korea. I guess
it's all just organized crime.
But I just never thought the two would link. But I guess
he
Russians
was like, we're not going to send you to China because it'd be easier for the Buksan gang to get at you. That was an interesting correlation. Russians are Asian, technically.
Yeah.
Depending on what side.
Section of the Russia.
I didn't think of that connection.
Or whatever.
No.
Similar? Maybe. I was on to something.
No, Mongolia is a different country.
No, I didn't say, no, Mongols. Not Mongolia.
As in Mongolian people?
No.
Are the Mongols.
No.
They were, historically.
No one cares what Greg thinks.
Anywho, Taegu flies out to this island. Yang was like, enjoy the weather. The second Taegu gets there, pouring rain. Thanks for waking up, Google. Nobody was talking to you. Uncle was supposed to meet him at the airport. It's not Uncle. By the way, Yang gave him a phone, like a new phone to be contacted on. It's Uncle's niece. Don't remember her fucking name. Hold on a second.
Sorry, I feel like the synopsis is taking longer than it typically does.
Am I not doing a good job?
No, I'm talking to the audience, but I'm saying it is taking longer than it typically does. I'm almost getting antsy. I want to talk about the movie.
Jae-yeon. We're only 15 minutes in. So, Jae-yeon, I guess, or Jae-yoon is the... Go Jae-yoon. Just call her Jay.
Jay.
So, fuck it. Jay picks him up. She's immediately weird.
Don't give commentary yet. Just tell them what happens.
Right, fuck. Do they go for food, or do they just go straight to the house?
They definitely go straight to the house first.
Okay. Yeah. No.
I don't think they go for food first.
They don't go for food until she goes to the hospital. All right. While they're driving back to the farmhouse that Uncle lives on, we see Uncle doing a gun deal with some other Korean guys. And the Korean guy, the other gangster is like, why are you doing this sale directly? You usually do sales through the Russians.
Was it the Russians?
Through the Russians.
I thought it was through the Chinese.
No, through the Russians. And he's like, mind your fucking business. Just give me my money and get out. And the guy's like, all right, watch your tone, but okay. He leaves, whatever. Taegu gets there. I'm going to start speeding this up, even though this is entertaining and making me remember the movie. Taegu gets there. He's living there he's going to be living there for the next for a week at least. Wakes up the next morning. Jay is like fucking shooting bottles and then pretends to shoot herself in the head just to scare him. She's had like a whole attitude with him the whole time. Like the first night when he was there, he was eating food. And the uncle asked him how long he was going to be there. And she got like immediately upset and fucking threw his food in the sink. Whatever. He keeps having weird run-ins with the niece, with Jay, because she's acting crazy. And then he finds her like passed out in her car with like a needle in her arm. So he thinks she's like doing heroin, but it turns out it's medicine because she's sick and dying. They go to the hospital. He stays in the hospital while Uncle goes home. She wakes up to Taegu in the room, starts getting dressed, and like doesn't give a fuck that she's naked in front of him. They leave. They go and get food because she's hungry, even though he's not hungry. It turns out that it's his exact favorite food, that raw fish stew. He doesn't eat it for whatever reason, probably because he's feeling melancholy about the fact that his sister and his niece just died like a week ago. She's like, "Oh, have a drink. You can't come to Jeju and not have this drink." And he's like, "No, I'm not gonna drink because that's crazy, because I still have to drive home." And she's like, "Nah, drink anyway. There's no DUI checkpoints." And then the second they leave, there's a fucking DUI checkpoint, and the guy's getting a breathalyzer test, and she's fucked up and like fighting the cops. She passes out, gets in the car, they drive away. She's like, "What'd you do to get sent here? Why do you have a death sentence?" He's like, "Shut the fuck up and stop bothering me. Why are you so crazy? Stop calling me a kid," because she's been calling him a kid the whole time. I don't remember. Like immediately after that, I don't remember. Oh, while this is all happening, Yang is in trouble because Yang tried to do a coup to take out the rest of the Book-song gang because apparently they have multiple directors, and he fucking failed. Chairman Do didn't even die. Like, even though he got stabbed, he was somehow alive and went to the hospital and is recovering. The other chairman that he tried to take out, or director, whatever the fuck, still alive. Um, and so they do like a coup to try and take out the Book-song gang in their warehouse and kidnap and kill one of the other directors. Doesn't work. So this guy's fucked. All of his men are getting captured and murdered. He's about to get killed. He calls in this dude called the captain. That's all I'm gonna call him because I don't actually remember his name. The captain, we find out, is some kind of political entity, like some kind of chief of police or whatever for Seoul, and he becomes the go-between between the Book-song gang and Yang's gang. And the I think his name is Director Ma. That dude is fucking pissed. Cause he's like, who the fuck is this bullshit scumbag to attack our gang this vilely in the middle of the daylight in this time and think he can get away with it? So, yeah, Captain finally comes to some sort of accord where they're gonna blame Taegu for everything. They're gonna be like, this guy just acted out by his own, whatever. We're gonna let the Book-song gang take care of him, and then Yang has to clean up the body and get rid of it. While this is happening, a gun deal with Uncle goes wrong, and they try and take all of his shit, and Uncle pulls some gangster fucking moves and shoots like half of them, but then they get him, and Jay and Taegu are pulling up at the same time, so they hear the gunshots. Taegu pulls some gangster shit against some Russians that are in the car, and then Jay just fucking caps them, bro. She killed everybody in that fucking car. They go into the warehouse, they take care of business. Unfortunately, Uncle's dead. They basically kill everybody else in that fucking warehouse except for the one guy who was leading the deal. And they leave and go to this hotel. While they're at the hotel, they're having like a little weird cutesy moment, whatever. He doesn't sleep with her even though she asked him to sleep with her because she's dying. The next day or whatever, they go and have that soup that he said that he loves, and they have like a bonding moment over that. And then he gets a phone call from his boss saying, "Come to the airport." But we know that it's a trap, but he doesn't know that it's a trap, and she tells him not to go for it. So he goes to the airport, and he sees Director Ma coming out with Yang, and he's like, "Yo, this shit is fucked." And he gets a phone call from his boy, and he's like, "Yo, Yang sold us out." And then his boy gets fucking taken in the middle of the phone call. He's like, "Yo, I got a fucking dip." So he gets in the car, but these niggas start chasing him in like 6 different cars. There's like 35 guys coming after him. They get into some crazy fight on the highway. I thought he was gonna die right there, or they were gonna take him. There were like 8 people all over him. This dude stabs the fuck out of everybody somehow, runs away, gets into another car. The police come, everybody scatters. He finally gets back to the hotel. This bitch isn't there. She went back to the farm. So he goes to the farm. Actually, no. She gets captured by Director Ma Yang. Ma calls him and is like, "Pull up. You're going to die either way, but if you don't pull up, I'm going to kill her and then kill you." But if you pull up, I'm not going to kill her. I'll just kill you. But I'll give you a parting gift if you show up on time. He's like, come within the hour. So he pulls up within the hour. The guys outside beat the shit out of him for like stabbing their other boys. They go inside. They beat the shit out of him a little bit more. Yang starts beating up on him, and Ma's like, what the fuck are you doing, you piece of shit? Like, stop beating him up. You're already a piece of garbage. Like, why are you doing this to him? He's actually kind of okay. He was just doing your orders. And so he's like, yo, I have some weird information about your sister's death, Taegu. Yang did it, son. And Taegu has had the life beaten out of him already. This guy starts wilding. He starts going crazy, starts beating the shit out of Yang. But of course, Ma has already been instructed by the captain that he can't let anything happen to Yang because Yang, even though he's not a successful gangster, somehow has very high up politicians on his payroll. So if he gets killed, there's going to be like a whole shitstorm. Ma throws Yang a knife. Yang stabs the fuck out of Taegu. Taegu's still beating the shit out of him. Like, he hits him with like 5 more headbutts against the wall. Ma sends more of his boys to go stab Taegu. It's super sad. It's honestly fucked up. He's like stabbed another 5 times, collapses to the floor. Jay comes over and they have another moment. And then Yang pushes her away and slides a knife through his neck because he can't just stop being a piece of shit. They leave her there. They set the whole fucking place on fire. She goes back to that hotel that they were staying at, drinks, sets up somebody at the hotel that the guys were staying at to recommend them a certain restaurant for breakfast, shows up at that restaurant and just fucking kills everybody. Just shoots the whole fucking place up. And one of my favorite parts was that Ma was like, whatever you gotta do. It's business. And she just blew his fucking head off. And that's basically the end of the movie. She went to the beach, the cops showed up, and she killed herself. The end.
She did cap herself at the end. So that was the synopsis of the film. So what I think we should do is rewind, start from the beginning with the commentary. Yeah.
Go wherever you want with it.
Well, the first thing... Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about my viewing experience.
Nicolette has notes.
I do have some notes, just because it was a foreign language film, and
it was long.
Yeah, and I often forget. The funny thing is, when I first looked up the film, just Googled it, just to have a, understanding of just kind of what it was about. Google's synopsis was the story of a man targeted by gangsters and a woman who has given up on life.
Had no idea this movie was going to be that. Well, like what it was. Well, based off of that.
Yeah, obviously it has nothing to do. Not nothing, but I was confused.
Very little.
Because the first thing you see again is him picking up his sister. Well, not the very first thing. You know what the very first thing was. But he picks up his sister from the airport, and I'm assuming that this is this woman who's given up on life because she's sick. And honestly...
And she's even like, you're going to have to take care of my daughter, so you should probably stop being a gangster.
Yes.
Because she's going to die.
I was not as sympathetic towards her death because she was kind of a bitch at the very little time that I got to spend with her. She was being very loud in the airport about what his profession was. She said, why are you being so sappy, when he gave his niece an iPad for her birthday.
And he was like being real lovey with her. Cute. And she was like, hurry the fuck up, I gotta go.
It was like really mean. I was like, what the hell's wrong with this lady?
And
like,
she said he was late.
Yeah.
They just got off the plane.
I didn't like her at all. So, and she even told the little girl everything, kind of, because she was like, little kid. I don't know what her name was, but she was like, yeah, they know everything. And the little girl kind of like nodded or something.
That little girl was sassy. I like her.
She was cute. But also totally unnecessary to out the uncle to his little niece.
His niece should not know he's killing people.
No, I didn't like this lady at all. So when she was murdered, I was like, fine, like that's fine.
But the niece.
They
even showed an EMT like running over the iPad box, and it was full of blood.
Yeah, there's a lot of blood in this movie.
Oh, there was... Half the budget went to blood in this movie.
It was very, and it had some art house elements that I'll get into as well, which made it kind of feel like it was going to be good, but I had mixed feelings.
It's a mixed bag.
Okay, so anyway, because the cinematography was really awesome, like right out the gate, including the fight scenes as well. Just like he was talking about when he killed the gang boss, or he tried to attempt.
Chairman Doe, the
That was
assassination. That was a decent, like, action scene.
that was a really cool action scene. But my issue was that he is a well trained killer. It's very convenient that
Did the
this
guy
man
live?
lived,
He basically could have just decapitated him.
and I almost feel like he did because of how he was slashing everyone.
Oh, he fucking murdered the shit out of the 3 bodyguards. You'd think he would just stab that guy like 17 times. He clearly had time.
Yeah.
Nobody was coming.
It was very convenient to me, plot wise, that he ended up living. Even though he had lived, I was confused as to why they thought this would be a good idea. Because did they think there would be no retribution for killing this man, like whether he was dead or not?
Well, that's the thing. The whole point of the coup was that they were going to take out the chairman and they were going to take out the director. I guess those are like the 2 highest ranking positions in the books on gang.
But there's still a ton of other people.
But they were going to take control of it.
I don't know how that works. I just felt like, to me, it just seemed very silly to even dip your hands into this.
And part of it was that he was scared that Taegu was going to go to the other side.
Yeah, that's true. And anyway, Yang, as we were talking about how he fucked up, and he initially went to the captain, what was his name?
We're just going to call him Captain.
Captain Park.
Ooh,
His name was Captain
easy.
Park. Yeah, Captain Park. I loved the scene where he first actually went to talk to him because he went into his car. And again, this is a man. Yang was someone people were bowing to beforehand. And he's going to this man's car.
Begging.
He's begging. But Captain Park is like wearing not a snapback. It's like a regular...
This dude was wearing some crazy streetwear.
Yeah, he was wearing crazy streetwear. He was sucking on a lollipop. He's like, you smell.
No, it was he had a box of like fingers and ears. And he was like, oof, get that shit out of my car,
Yeah, he's
bro.
like, you smell like... He was sucking on a lollipop. Like,
that dude
he didn't
was a
give a
gangster.
fuck. He was really cool.
That dude was really gangster.
And I love that his streetwear in comparison to like
everybody
the juxtapositions
else in the suits.
In the suits.
Mm-hmm.
So I really loved that. Oh, okay. So wait, what was the next?
Dude, honestly, the more I talk about it, the more I kind of like this movie.
Yeah, but I'll get into the points where I don't like it.
I know.
It's a little comical, and also when Yang insinuates to Taeho. Was it Taeho?
No, Taeho's from Space Super.
Shit! That was very racist of me.
No, it was close enough. Taegu, Taeho.
Taegu.
Just call him Tay Tay.
Tay Tay, yeah, so Tay Tay, yeah, he basically insinuated that the other gang had done it, but it seemed a little on the nose. Because it didn't make a lot of sense. He's like...
Because there really is a lot of respect between these gangs, even
Yeah.
though they're all kind of pieces of shit.
But it just seemed disingenuous. That was my issue, too. Like, I was like, this seems suspicious. But he was in so much grief, I guess he just didn't notice.
You know what I thought was weird about that scene? Nobody else was eating or drinking. Everybody else was standing in the background, perfectly still.
Were they not eating and
No.
drinking?
They all had food and drinks in front of them. They were all sitting perfectly still at their table.
Maybe they're not allowed to eat until he tells them they can. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. This dude commands respect, but then he's out here begging Captain
Like a little
Park
bitch,
like a
really.
bitch.
Captain Park, though, that lollipop scene killed me.
Honestly, he's probably one of my favorite characters.
Oh, he was cool. Yeah, I wish we'd gotten more screen time with him.
That and I like Ma. Ma was a savage.
Oh, yeah, Ma was pretty cool. I mean,
He had a lot of nice outfit changes.
Yeah.
He was smoking weed.
He was swift.
Yeah.
I liked the way his hair was slicked back, too. So anyway, the next thing that I thought was really notable was when Tay-Tay went to this island and was picked up by the niece, who I immediately hated. Because she was comically suicidal. And this is coming from a girl who's possibly comically suicidal. Because
Certainly frequently suicidal.
Yeah, frequently. Yeah, because she initially starts with the gun, right? Doing the gunplay. So she's a great shot. And then she pretends like she's going to kill herself.
But I knew that she wasn't. Because I saw her...
But I thought she was.
I saw her rack the slide. Or
Okay.
you don't see it, but you hear it. She finishes shooting and she cocks it again, and I was like, that bitch is empty.
I didn't know that. I thought she was really going to try to kill herself. And then same thing again with the needle in the car, where I'm like, this girl is so dramatic. Where it did look like a heroin overdose. I guess it wasn't. It was
Yeah,
her
because she
taking
was
her.
passed out, her head hit the fucking horn, and there's just a needle in her arm. He doesn't know any of her details.
Yeah, but why would she be taking medication in the car?
I don't. It happens. We don't even know what she was sick with.
That's another thing too. We don't know what the sister was sick with, and we don't know what she was
The
sick
sister
with.
had cancer.
Did she have cancer?
She had some kind of cancer. Either that or like an organ was failing
But
just
they
because
didn't
of
give
the
it.
donation.
Yeah, but they didn't go into detail.
They didn't go into detail with either of them. Fix your
Um,
mic. You're stepping on it.
Oh, sorry.
Not like the angle.
Oops,
Yeah.
sorry, people. Yeah, so we don't know either one of them. There's actually a lot of parallels between the sister and the niece.
Which is why I thought
It's uncle's niece.
sister and Jay.
Jay, sorry, yeah. Sister
Which is
and
why
Jay.
I think he didn't eat the soup that first time, because it was very much like a nostalgia from the soup, and this other bitch is like kind of dying, and he's like, my sister was dying and she wouldn't eat that soup, but you're eating that soup.
And he was also in a powerless place with both of them in terms of saving their lives. Uh, in the this is something that Greg didn't mention. Uncle was the reason he was saving up all his money, and he was even planning on selling his house, was because he said there's this strange statistic. He said she only has a 10% chance of living if we stay in Korea, and if we go to the USA, it's 20%.
Which didn't seem right. I'm sure
That
Koreans,
doesn't really
especially
make
on the
sense.
mainland, have extremely advanced healthcare.
But it also just those percentages just seem so random and also so very low. And she was gonna die in like a month.
20%?
But she had like a month to live.
Which you would think she would be a little more sickly.
She was pretty mobile. She was also drinking heavily.
Yeah.
Like she was basically
They were
drunk.
drinking a lot. Like Taegu especially had like 9 bottles of soju a night.
But yeah, that's a cultural thing, I think.
A lot of smoking in this movie too. Cigarettes.
Yeah, and I didn't even think it was cool. Also, I just also wanted to mention that the parallels too. I kind of think that's why he didn't have sex with her, but we'll get into that a little bit later.
He might have though. Later on.
I don't think so.
No?
No,
I feel like they had a connection later.
I think
But he was also dying from like 9 stab
he
wounds.
thought of her, I think, a lot like his sister. To be honest, that's kind of what the vibes I was getting. And she kept calling him kid, which Greg mentioned, and she kept saying it over and over. I mean, before he'd even said, "Why do you keep calling me kid?" I think I said it out loud. Why do you keep calling him kid? Because it was like such a. And then she kind of explained the rationale a little bit because.
Yeah, she was like, he's. Oh, you can do it.
Well, she's younger technically, but her whole issue is like, why do older people demand respect? This and that and that. She's thinking that because she's gonna die sooner, that's gives her not
It
necessarily.
evens out.
Yeah, it evens out, or like there's even like this moral high ground. Um. So there was that. Greg already mentioned the DUI checkpoint where she tried to get him to drink.
That was fucking hilarious.
That was really funny because she was so drunk that the guy was like, she's like the cops were like, she's plastered, get your girlfriend, because she was like running away from the cops.
Yeah, and acting all dramatic in the middle of the road.
She's a very dramatic. Honestly, this woman was so dramatic. I almost hated her for it.
Bro, she literally was like, "You can drink all you want. There's never. I've been drinking and driving my whole life. There's never a DUI checkpoint.
Yeah, she was encouraging
Immediate checkpoint, like as they leave the restaurant.
But yeah, she said the soup was so good that she'd miss it from the grave. That was the meal that they were having. Okay, so the thing that was really cool about Uncle, which is explained later, is that he is known as a legend within the gangster world.
Yeah, I skipped that part.
Yeah. Well, now I'm filling it in. He apparently his I don't know if it was his sister.
Mm-hmm.
It was his sister and her husband
And their other daughter.
and the other daughter. So this would be
Jay's parents and sister.
Jay's parents and sisters were murdered by a gang. So what he did was he basically assassinated everyone.
Like the whole faction of that Russian gang.
Kind of like what Jay did at the end of the film.
Yes.
So these are the things I'm talking about that make it seem very art house, like film school-esque, like this could be really good.
There's a lot of parallels and continuity.
Yeah. Um, but okay, so anyway, so the uncle's a badass. We've figured this and that. Oh wait, fuck. There was such a really good scene, and I can't remember what it was. It was when she was in the hospital, and the uncle and Tay were sitting in the lobby. But what did they say to each other? I feel like something funny happened.
Tay was sitting there and had a cup of water in his hand, and Uncle sat down and he went to pass Uncle the water, and Uncle was like, "I'm not drinking that if you were drinking from it." And he's like, "I haven't drunk from it yet," and gave it to him. And he handed it. He drank from it, handed it back to Tay. Tay drank from it, and then Uncle was like, "Bro, did you shower?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Do I look that bad?"
That's right.
And he like smelled his clothes and like touched his hair.
But it was really weird because the niece was like dying. So I thought it was pretty funny. That was the scene. I couldn't remember.
Also, the uncle's gun trade. He smuggled
guns and fish.
Yes, he smuggled the guns disassembled inside of fish.
Well, he had them disassemble it, but he's like, put it in this fish.
No. He was taking it out of the fish and said disassemble it and put it into your own bag because they wouldn't carry it like that.
I thought it was.
But the other guy was like, "Yo, these guns stink," and he's like, "You want the fucking guns or not?"
Yeah, like this is the only way to get them out.
His eyes were crazy.
Yeah, the
Uncle's
really crazy.
eyes were bulging and crazy.
So when they go back and find out that the uncle is basically he's having this gun battle while these other Russian mobsters see Tay and Jay in the car, and this is where Jay shoots. This is where she shoots someone.
They were actually like. Tay had a badass moment where the Russian guy tried to open the door. He opened the door at the same time,
he,
stopped it,
his leg
broke that guy's fucking leg, and then out of nowhere, Tay just pulls out the piece and starts blasting these fuckers in the car next to him.
I mean, she has a great shot. She's a little bit, you can see that she's shocked that she did it. Like, she hasn't murdered anyone before. But yeah, she's a little bit shook.
But, like, she snapped. Like, she was immediately, like...
She was somebody else.
Boom. Blow.
So then they go in to see what's going on with the uncle. So the uncle's basically been in this battle. He's done pretty well for himself, considering that he's the only guy there.
Yeah, because the guy just quickly stabbed him in the back.
Yeah.
And he, like, stumbled away. And when the guy sent his men to go stab him, Uncle was like... Surprise, motherfucker, Uno reverse card, pulled out the piece and started blasting them too. But then right before Tay and Jay walk into the building, one of the Russian guys goes across and they have the most ridiculous shootout.
Oh, they both shot each other like 10 times.
Yeah.
They both were just shooting and getting shot simultaneously.
It was crazy.
It was really cool to watch. That's another thing I wanted to mention about this film.
It reminded me a little bit of Wind River.
Oh.
Remember?
No.
Wind River.
I know the movie.
With Jeremy Renner. That one shootout scene that I love the middle of the oil field where they all pull their guns on each other and just start shooting each other.
I'm sorry. I honestly, whenever I think of Wind River, I can only think of the rape scene. It's just so horrific to me.
All right. And the whole Alexa thing.
Rape scene.
Yeah. There's just an epic shootout in Wind River, and at the end, two guys are left standing. Actually, one of them's on the floor, and the other one's left standing, and they're both reloading their guns. And they're both just like, "Yo, come at me, motherfucker!" And they shoot each other like 10 times, so they both just drop and die.
So that was really wild to see. What did aggravate me following this was that now I know that Jay is a good shot. They run in there. She immediately runs to her uncle, and there's other people still alive, still shooting, like trying to get and
nobody
Tay
else has
need
guns.
helps. Yeah, well,
they all have knives, but they're all like ready.
But they're ready to go, and Tay's also there. He needs help. Jay collapses over her uncle's body, and sits there and is like, "You can't die. You're not dying, Uncle. Don't say that."
This motherfucker has like 15 bullet holes in him and one stab wound.
people take a comically long time to die in this film from
Yes.
injuries, almost to like superhuman. Because he's sitting there with his eyes open and he's still alive, but he shortly will not be. Like, so it was annoying that she was questioning reality in that moment. I guess I could say that it kind of broke in her head, but like, really, bitch, you need to be more helpful. Because she
She
was,
was immediately though. Like the second somebody went to stab Tay in the back, she flipped and started blasting again.
yeah. So she has this. She's very hot and cold with me. When she's an assassin, I like her. Every other time, she's annoying.
She grew on me.
Really?
Yeah.
Ugh, I did not like her. Greg probably just thought she was cute. Um,
Not at the beginning though.
I don't think she was cute ever.
Not for like the first hour and a half.
He even said I wouldn't pay for that. He said, "Who would pay for that?"
Ooh.
Remember?
Oh, when she was naked in the
Yeah,
hospital.
because who would pay for that? She really wasn't a looker. She was all right, like very bland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was dying. God.
What? I don't have to give her hot points just because she's dying. Gotta earn them bitches. Anyway, yeah. So that whole scene happens. Um, wait, where did they go after that?
To the hotel.
Oh, so this is weird. The people that run the hotel, it's like this couple.
They've known her like her whole life.
They've known her, but they almost acted like cartoon characters. Do you agree with that statement?
They were very animated.
Like cartoons.
Yeah, a little.
Yeah, like they almost stuck out of the film because they acted so much like cartoons. They're like, "Oh, Uncle."
I guess it was a very much a juxtaposition because of the fact that we had just seen this incredibly crazy shootout, and then they're like, "Oh my God, how's your uncle? I haven't seen you in so many years. Your uncle's trying to sell his house. I wonder why he's trying to do that." Like,
Yeah, but Greg's even talking more like a human than these people did. That's kind of the problem. You don't even understand how they said like Mickey Mouse. And I think there was a reason for that. Because this hotel stay is kind of the little hideaway we get from all of this terrible shit that goes on. Um, there's also this line that keeps repeating in the film where she initially it was a very hostile scene. I think this is the first time they were getting soup, where I think he might have asked her, "Are you okay?"
oh yeah, I do like the repeating factor of that.
Yeah, he's like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "I really hate
When people know that you're not okay, like they can clearly see it, but they still ask you.
Well, I think she said, "I hate people who ask if you're okay when they clearly know you're not okay." So that was a line that kept repeating back between the both of them, even at the end of Tay's life. He
Because at one point, the second time it happens is when. Oh, well, he starts to say it, like right after she's. No, hold on.
he couldn't remember the line exactly.
Yeah.
But
So
this
yeah,
was at
the second
hotel,
time when they repeat it is at the hotel because she bit him on
the hand.
the hand when she was having like a fit from her medicine. Or from her lack of medicine. I don't even know what
We
the
don't
fuck
even
was
really
going
know
on.
what happened, but she definitely bit the shit out of his hand.
And she, like, asked him if he was okay. Well, he asked her if she was okay again. And that's when she said the line again.
Well, because her
And then
uncle had just passed away.
She was like, "Are you okay?" And he shows her the hand, and he's like, "Do I fucking look like I'm okay?" And he tried to say it back to her, but kind of fucked it up.
Yeah. But it was a cute moment in a way. Still morbid. The film's morbid. So anyway, she goes back to her room and he's there. And she's like, "Well, you can get into bed with me." And it seemed at first as though it was an invitation to sleep in the bed.
That's what I thought, because she said you can sleep with me.
No, it was very provocative. Well, it started turning that way.
After.
Yeah.
But the first time she said it, and I don't know if that's just a subtitle thing, it really did sound like she was just like alone and scared and was like, "Just come sleep with me in the bed."
I'll have to tell you something. Greg and I technically watched two different films, and I'm going to come very clean about this. I did something that was a little bit sacrilegious that I do with anime.
You watched it in English?
I had to.
Whoa.
I had to.
What a... Guys, what a fucking secret betrayal.
It wasn't...
She didn't even tell me this until right now.
No,
You're
I didn't.
seeing my reaction live. This is traumatizing almost.
It's traumatizing for me for someone who went to film school, but honestly, my mental health's been so poor, and my Adderall prescription is just not quite right. So
What was the dub like?
I did try watching it at first as reading, but I couldn't keep up with both and keep write notes because
That's
I was
fine.
writing notes.
But like, what was it like? Like, was it actually good? Was the voice acting good?
I I don't know. That's the thing, because when I'm talking about the inflections now, it could just be the English.
Exactly. But
So
if I understood Korean, maybe I would have gotten the immediate sexy vibes too.
that's true. I don't know.
But what I saw from from her body language and from the way the subtitles read, the first time she said you can get in bed and sleep with me, it seemed like a get like let's go to like just sleep in my
Yeah, it
bed.
seemed childish almost, like she needed someone there, but then it turned almost nasty because she can be very nasty when she doesn't immediately get her way, I
Yeah.
find. Where she's like, just like, sleep with, like, who cares? Like,
I'm gonna die anyway.
I'm gonna die
I'm
anyway.
not saving myself for anyone.
Which is not even a really nice invitation to your partner.
No, I don't want to fuck you after you just said that weird shit to me either.
Well, it's not even that it's just weird, that it just doesn't make him feel particularly special
Or
either.
wanted.
And he said, I'm not that kind of guy. And what he means is, like, I'm not the kind of guy who would just sleep with any woman who throws herself at me.
Man, he told her straight to her face.
Yeah, and she was upset when he left the room because the camera didn't leave her. Um, which is another reason I wasn't, like, a super big fan of her, because I don't like people that don't take sexual rejection well. I think it's entitled and almost rapey. It's weird. Um, yeah, that's just how I feel about
Because
it.
it wasn't even that she felt like, oh, he doesn't like me physically. She was like, why the fuck didn't he sleep with me?
It was that kind of attitude that it was very
Like, it wasn't like she's an emotional and needed
yeah.
to sex. She almost seemed like angry
She was
about
incelly. She was incelly.
Yeah, not in like a
and
sad
now we know
way.
she's a virgin, so she definitely
Was
wasn't.
she?
She said, "I'm not saving myself for anybody."
Yeah, but I didn't know if that connotation meant that she was a virgin or she was just saying what people say.
I don't know what people say.
'Cause she was we don't know how old she was.
But we also don't know what the Korean culture is like.
True.
So to me, I thought maybe they are more conservative. Possibly, she hasn't had sex with anyone. I don't know. Um, but yeah. So that's.
If she was a virgin, that was a very brash way of.
Well, she's angry.
Going about that.
She's gonna die. So she very well may not get to have sex. Well, now we know she didn't.
No, she didn't.
So that happened. So the next thing that happens is they go the airport scene, right?
No, lunch.
Oh, they get lunch again,
and this time instead of him saying he doesn't want to eat, she's saying she doesn't want to eat.
But he actually gives a little bit of backstory about himself, about his family, and how he actually really loved the soup, or that type of fish, because she was under the impression that he didn't from when he, initially rejected it or whatever. He's
because he never ate it that one time.
Yeah. He's like, no, I really loved it. And he's like, you've recommended it. You said you'd miss it beyond the grave. So then he goes about eating it. And he's like, well, if you don't want yours, I'll eat yours too. And then she's like, no, it's a kind of a cute moment that they share.
She got real defensive, but in like a cute way.
Yeah, she's like, I'll eat it. And I felt bad for him. He was eating it with his fucked up bitten hand. Chopsticks.
Chopsticks, but he only has like 3 fingers to use.
Yeah. It was pretty funny.
That and they eat it voraciously.
I don't even know how they eat that quickly with metal chopsticks, no less, because I think that's a Korean thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how it just doesn't slip out.
They are slippery. I've had titanium chopsticks.
I've had them.
They're not.
No, I don't know how you grip any food. The wood ones are much easier. So then I guess we get to the airport scene. Oh,
they get back from lunch and then he immediately gets the phone call and she's like, "Don't leave me."
Wait, before I want to talk about that, this is something that's happening concurrently, I guess.
The meeting?
The meeting. Because I thought that was pretty sick.
It was a good scene.
So there's 3 people sitting at the table. It's Captain Park,
Director Ma
and Yang. So they're all sitting like, it's at a circular table, and the center part of the circle actually, or the table swivels.
That's an Asian thing.
But I thought it was cool because they play with it a little bit.
Yeah, they use it for the meeting, but also it's like the family eating style where you'll have like a ton of dishes and you just turn the table and everybody can take a little bit from each. But because it's the 3 of them, there's not much on it, but they use it as like a prop. It was cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Also, Park and Ma are fucking slurping the shit out of their noodles and like bantering back and forth about how it was cheap food. I said I was gonna pick up the tab. Yang ain't eating shit. Yang is just sitting there like a spanked dog.
He was very afraid. Again, it's just wild to see his introduction and the way he acts with the rest of the film. So anyway, Greg kind of explained the dynamics of what happens during this meeting, but the back and forth banter was just fucking sick.
It was phenomenal.
And I think not Captain Park. What was his name? Ma put his food down on the table. He slapped it down.
He flipped.
He flipped the
his
bowl of
was
soup.
almost empty, but he inverted the bowl and smacked it onto the table. I can only imagine, like that would be rude just here, but that has to be the ultimate sign of disrespect.
It was crazy
at like a table where you're eating.
It was really crazy. And Captain Park was, I liked how he commanded. Even he was dealing with.
He lost it a little bit though. He was very, not that he lost it in his angry way, as in he almost
lost the conversation.
Yes,
like
Ma was so angry that Park almost didn't command enough respect to pull it off.
Yeah, he just basically had to say like there are people that are higher up than me that are on the payroll. So that's how he basically won the conversation. And said we're gonna blame everything on Tay, and this is what we're gonna do, and that's gonna be the end of it. Okay, so flash. Let's move to now the airport scene where Yang is waiting, and Tay shows up, but I actually have an issue with this scene, because Tay gets this foreboding phone call from his friend Jin Sun, that they've been betrayed, and what have you. So he gets his call, and then he's like, and his friend gets like murked during the phone call.
He gets taken. He gets killed later, which is another plot point.
Yeah, he does get killed later. But he's like, what? Like, where are you? Like, and then obviously the call's cutting out. Like, it's over. So he's sort of really confused. But then he kind of doesn't move quickly enough for someone
or like hide, like duck, drop to the floor, because he already saw Yang. And as he's seeing Yang, he sees Ma walking out behind him, and that's when the phone call happens. It's like, bro.
Well, those two shouldn't be together anyway.
Exactly.
So that's obvious. 2, he gets his foreboding phone call. 3, you need to react much quicker, and for someone of your
caliber,
caliber, you would know that. So he waits until he makes eye contact with Yang to start moving, and that aggravated me to no end. You have no idea. And then these people basically take off in the middle of the airport. You would almost think they were not in public, the way that these people were acting, also, like animals.
Is there no fucking security in these Korean airports?
But that's what I was trying to say. The police took a very long time to get to them, and that's where I kind of have some issues with this film, because it's supposed to be based. There was fantastical elements in the film.
It's supposed to be based in reality.
But it's supposed to be based in reality. So, the airport, they take off through the airport. Then there's this crazy car scene, which again, there's no other people on the highway, I guess, going in the same direction.
Oh, there were a lot of cars that they were swerving through.
Yeah, but at the end, when...
Oh, yeah, there were no cars backed up behind them.
Where were all the people? You only see them on the other side, and the cops take forever. I don't even know how Tay got out of that situation, honestly. It's miraculous.
Dude, it was miraculous that he even got out of the airport, but that car scene had me tense.
Yeah.
Because there were like 9 guys coming at him with butcher knives,
Yeah, but basically. I knew he was going to live.
Yeah, but I thought they were going to take him then.
Oh, okay, take him, yeah.
But they didn't. This dude was ferocious.
He was really good. He was which is almost why I was like, why would you wait to make eye contact with that man in the airport? Like, you are so good. So I have higher expectations for him. Again, I think some of the things in the script were a little lazy because they made things too convenient. That was just, my take. Oh, okay. So this was a little bit odd to me. So they take Jay, and they also have his friend who made the phone call.
Jin Sung.
They have him on standby somewhere else. So they call.
They're supposed to anyway.
He is on standby.
Mm-mm.
He's not dead yet.
Yang's having him killed at the same time.
He gets killed during that conversation, but it's not yet. It doesn't happen until he shows up.
They happen in different timelines, though. I think Jin Sung's already dead. Like, when they grabbed him at the hospital, they were already killing him.
Okay, I don't think he was dead yet. I think he died during when Jay actually showed up. Oh, I mean, Tay actually showed up to pick up Jay. But I'll explain that part. So anyway, they call him. They're like, "Yo, we have Jay. We have your bud. Like, you're gonna die anyway," which is not true. He would have not died. But he's like, "We're gonna kill her and we're gonna kill him if you don't show up." So he's like, "All right, I'll come through." The friend is killed anyway, which is kind of what makes Yang such a shitty person, because Ma would never do something like that. He's actually someone who keeps his word, which is kind of why I liked him a lot as a character.
Yeah, he was gonna let Jay and Jin Sung live.
Yeah, he was that old school kind of gangster, or the American like classical kind of gangster. You know, they have their own anti-hero where they live by their own rules. Like, you know, they have their own whatever.
Like, they have a code.
Yeah, there's a code. Even if it's all fucked up or whatever, you can at least
like, go murder people, but they won't murder their families.
Yeah, something like that. You know, they're different. So anyway, he shows up, and the things I don't understand is that Jay is going to die anyway. She's terminally ill.
Yeah, and so she told him, "Don't come, bro."
Yeah, she said, "Don't come." So I was like under the impression, like, would I go? No, probably not. But he was like, no, like, fuck that. He doesn't really have much to live for, I suppose, anyway. And that was his line of work. I don't even know what he would do otherwise. But anyway, he goes, and the friend is killed, and he gets the shit beaten out of him. And what was his name? Ma does something really cool that Greg did mention, where he allows Tay to actually beat the shit out of Yang.
Yeah, that was his gift.
Like, close to death almost. And he was like, you know, if
this guy wasn't so high up, I would have just let you kill him.
I would have let you kill him. Like, honestly, I would have.
That's why I love Ma.
Yeah, Ma was a really cool guy, even till the end.
He was like, I am so... Not only am I upset that I can't let you kill this disgusting piece of shit, because Ma really hated Yang.
I hated Yang.
He's like, I'm sorry that you have to die because you would be like an excellent asset for the gang.
Because it's true.
Because this guy has had the shit beaten. Like, he is
black and
90% to death. And the second he hears that Yang killed his sister, he loses his fucking shit.
Yeah, he loses his mind. It's actually pretty cool to watch. It was like an adrenaline shot.
And even after Yang stabbed him,
yeah,
he beat his fucking head against the wall.
Yeah. So it was really sad to watch him die. The one nice thing that was exchanged though between him and Jay, well, once it comes out that she's terminally ill too. Because Yang was like, let's kill her too, and he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, like, I already promised this guy that she and his friend were gonna live, and you already killed the fucking friend.
And she's terminally ill. Like, what is the fuck is wrong with you? He's like, oh, it's gonna be a problem for us later, you'll see, etc., which was true.
That for damn sure was. But they didn't know how nasty she was.
No, yeah, you wouldn't know. You know, but anyway.
She's just some frail, dying woman, as far as they know.
The one line that I really did like, though, at the end of
close to Tay's death.
Tay's death is that he says, you know, I'm the one who, like, I think he calls her kid. Does he call her kid? Yeah, because he's like, I'm the one who died first now. And it was really sad, because you're like...
Yeah, and she was like, are you okay? He's like, I hate it when people ask me that. I'm okay.
Yeah, because he's fucking dying, yo. But it was a really sweet moment.
It really tore my heart when Yang stabbed him, and then he headbutted Yang, and then Ma sent like 3 guys each to go stab him, like, individually, one at a time. And you were like, all right, like, I guess director or Chairman Doe, like, probably got stabbed that many times. Like, maybe Tay can live, like, if they just leave now. And then they just kept fucking stabbing him, and you're like, all right, maybe he can live. Like, this would be like a miracle surgery. Every other people have lived, and then fucking Yang just shoves a knife through his goddamn neck, and you're like, you flaming piece of shit.
Yeah, I hate Yang. He's the worst.
Just garbage shit pile on fire is Yang.
Yeah, I hated it, just his face by the end of the film. But yeah, the setup that
Mom beat him with a wrench.
Yeah.
Mom beat him with a wrench in the car. He said, "Hand me a tool." The guy handed him a gun. He was like, "What are you doing?"
He's like, "How are we gonna fix this?" He was like,
Yeah, that scene was really.
It was really intense.
Heart wrenching.
Yeah, like I said, there are nuggets of
Because I didn't even really care about Tay like that, but then like, you're like, damn, bro.
Well, because Tay doesn't have a ton of personality. He's a very stoic figure, I guess. Yeah. Maybe that's why. It's more circumstances of things that happen to him that you're like, well, if this happened to any human, I would feel bad. Not, fill in gap, then that's just Tay. Mm-hmm.
And I think he was just awkward too because of like the whole situation he was put in with her. Like,
well,
he seemed very enigmatic when, like, back home before his sister died. It's really after that he became very stoic.
Well, yeah, because he's dealing with the death of his family, and then he's dealing with this girl who's constantly berating him for no apparent reason.
Calling him kid.
And then he's gonna live in like Russia or something.
Yeah, for the rest of his life.
It's kind of fucked up. But yeah, so I loved when she set up the whole scene where she goes in and kills everyone. It's almost something out of like a comic book, really.
Savage dude rode up on like a shitty little motorcycle.
Yeah, it was like yeah.
Walked past like 5 guys outside. Locked the door. Savage. She locked the door,
but
and
not
then
even
locked
secretly. She just did it
very loudly.
She just didn't care because she's a little girl. Like, who cares?
And the guy came over and was like trying to like harass her
sexually. She tried to sexually harass her, and that was the last thing he ever did.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, come sit on my lap. We're not that bad. We recognize who you are." And she just put a gun straight to his throat. He froze in fear, and she blasted his fucking skull off.
It was actually pretty incredible to watch. Yeah, so and it was like, I guess, what her uncle had done before her.
And there's so little gun action in this movie, which is very different from American movies, because usually it's like heavy knives on the guns. It's a lot of knives because guns are a lot harder to come by in those countries. So when those scenes do happen, you're like, holy shit. They demand your attention. Like, these people can't do anything against her. What are they going to do, throw a knife?
Yeah, so she killed everyone in that room, and then she's like, gonna go into the room where Ma and who was the old man?
It was Ma, Yang, and the guy that was doing the deals with Uncle, who betrayed him.
Okay, yeah. So
which is like a triple retribution.
Yeah, so she kills all of those people, but what I find to be so funny is that I kind of personally thought it was convenient that Yang was even there. Because really, Yang was so fucked up, he should have been in a hospital. He shouldn't have been eating with those people. In my opinion, when I first saw him...
It'd been a day, I guess.
No. Dude, he was fucked up. He would have been in a hospital, for sure. Yeah. There's no way. It was very convenient that he was there. And again, that's things of this... I don't like when things are convenient in films. It just seems like lazy writing. But anyway, she kills all those people. It's super badass. And then, again, she's alone. She talked about how she had no family, no nothing, and she's terminally ill. At the very end of the film, she kills herself, and that's the end. I don't know what I feel walking away from that. It just feels... It was just a lot of death. Well, yeah, but sad with the character, I don't particularly care. I don't like her.
I like that she was listening to his iPod at the end. I think.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, he was always listening to music with, like, the Apple headphones, like the wired ones.
Yeah.
And before she killed herself, she was listening
with
those same
right.
headphones.
Okay, I wonder what the music was.
And she smiled.
Yeah,
with her feet in the water like they had done after they ate the second time. They stood there in the water, like, by the beach.
See, that's the art house stuff I'm talking about.
There were a lot of specific camera shots, too.
It's very good. Visually, the imagery was great.
The color was good.
The color was good. The juxtaposition was good.
Were on fire.
Yeah, it really... I don't have any complaints in terms of that. I think, for me, it was just somewhere in the writing fell apart. It almost felt a little caricature. Is that fair to say? Of a film, like art house film?
Yeah, I don't know the vibe. Is it an action film? Is it a classic mob film? Is it a drama? Like, there was a lot going on.
But then you also wonder whose story it is, because at the end
Is it hers?
it's Jay who's standing, not Tay. So that makes it, there's a little bit a weird of switch up with that.
Because he was the main character until then.
He was the main character.
And then he's gone. Uncle's gone. His family's gone. Everybody's gone.
And
everybody's gone.
Everyone's
Ma,
gone.
yeah, everybody's gone except for basically Captain Park.
And I think that they rushed the inciting incident a little bit in this film too. And that's something that's almost a little unforgivable because you can't really undo that.
Which incident?
The inciting one.
What do you mean? The car accident?
Yes. Well, this is a film term. Inciting incident is basically it's the incident that changes the world or shakes up the status quo for the main character.
Yeah, it's what starts the events that transpire.
But we don't get a lot of before, which is why I thought the sister was a bitch. I didn't really know anything about him except that he was a revered hitman or something. But there was no, again,
he was a little bit like Yang's Ma.
Yeah, but we don't have it. He doesn't talk as much, so he's a little less personality.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a little bit frustrating. And then, we have a couple secondary characters that I really ended up liking. Like Park, awesome, really cool. Like, he had a lot of personality. Ma, a lot of personality. Yang ended up bugging the fuck out of me.
Which means good acting.
It's good acting, but I also want to enjoy my experience, but I also should feel more strongly about the main character than I feel about it, than any other character. Jay, who we probably got the most screen time with after Tay, I didn't like her. So it was a lot of just like, I'm watching these people that I don't particularly care for too much, because half the film is Tay and Jay, and you're like, what's good? Like, can we have a little bit more going? And then I'm just getting aggravated constantly with Yang.
You know what else was a little fantastical, but I liked? Because Yang, the gangster, and Ma were all eating in a separate room, like away from the henchmen, because they're above that.
Yeah.
They open the door to find out what the fuck just happened, and they shove Ma out and close the door. And Ma is like, he like looks left and right. He's like, oh shit. And he looks at her, and she's just looking at him with the gun like straight at him. He's like, you know what? I'm not even mad. You do what you gotta do. And she just killed him. And then she busts down the door, kills the other gangster, who I don't even know if she recognized was the guy that led to her uncle dying, and then shoots Yang several times. And Yang doesn't die immediately.
They never do in this film.
That's the fantastical part. And he starts crawling away, flips over, and is like, wait, stop, we can talk about this. Dude, you're dead.
You are dying.
You have like 5 gunshot wounds. You've been beaten up over several days. Like, you're dead. There's no coming back.
Yeah, he was just he was a cockroach, essentially.
But Ma still ends up... Ma and Captain Park end up being my favorite characters.
They're the best ones. They're absolutely the best ones. You almost wish they had more
very dynamic
screen time.
Great outfits. Great acting. It's just good.
We really don't get enough Park, though.
No, we could have had more Park.
Like, we really don't get enough of him. It's kind of a tragedy.
But I guess we have to enjoy what was there.
Well, that goes into my ratings, doesn't it?
Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of what I thought about this film. I took some notes that I was going through as I was watching, and that was it, really.
Welcome to the longest episode so far, I think.
Fuck, this is longer than the Trash Sweepers?
Space Sweepers?
Fuck.
I think so.
Yeah, maybe. Sorry, guys.
So what's your rating? Because I have mine in mind already. Because I both love and hate this movie.
I thought a 6.5 was fair for me.
This is going to be our first divergent rating.
Ooh, okay.
7.6.
Greg's more easily entertained than I am, and I'll tell you why. Because he didn't go to film school.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
So I'm a little more tired.
But that's exactly why this works.
Yeah.
Film and TV production, jabroni. So we have the regular people's rating. It's basically like
Rotten
Rotten
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes.
It's
We
like
have the
Rotten
audience
Tomatoes.
rating and we have the
Yeah.
critics rating.
It's actually we should let's share with
check
them.
check the Rotten Tomato score.
Yeah, I'm curious to know. 67 on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah.
Which you were at a 6.5.
Right on point.
And then check the audience score.
Okay, let's check. 73.
Hey yo, let's go.
Yes, get it.
That is so
That's
on
really
point.
funny.
That's hilarious. Which I don't always align with the audience score, and you don't always align with the critic score, but that's pretty. That's
pretty good.
point.
Yeah. I don't always align. Like one of my favorite films, Gummo, is horribly rated by critics.
But Gummo was actually good.
It's my favorite movie. So yeah, thanks guys for tuning in again. We're gonna be a little bit more consistent coming up. Like we got our shit together.
Absolutely. We have specific days that we're gonna be doing it. Not that I'm gonna tell you now because that might change, but we have 2 days a week that we're definitely 2 episodes a week.
2 episodes a week until we catch up.
If not more, like if we have a little extra day, might be 3 episodes.
We might have some cool stuff coming up.
We might have some special episodes. The next movie should be Bad Trip, which is going to be under the influence. So we're going to be smoking when we watch the movie, and we're going to be smoking during the podcast. So if you want to pull up with your favorite smokables and listen in,
that'd be really awesome. And just be aware that I might not be as coherent as, I mean, I have issues now, but I'm really not good when I'm high.
And we definitely might get into long tangents.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely have nothing to do with
Greg will have to keep me on point.
I'll have to keep myself on point.
And also this is so early to talk about, but just be aware that we will definitely be doing like a tandem podcast when the Halloween time comes around because we're going to do the Halloween series.
Yes, we are.
Because it's my favorite thing ever.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.